Alright folks, let's have a closer look at the Flash. And as we can see, it's just the basic Brave and the Bold Buck with a brand new head sculpt. Now the interesting thing about this figure is that this is the Flash figure that was going to come out previously, and there were a couple of samples that did leak out there for the Brave and the Bold. He came with some interesting like speed armor or something silly. But here, the figure does finally make it out, and the difference is that there is a New 52 paint app on his chest. Now, as we can see, like in the New 52, the lightning bolts sort of go around the costume, almost as if the Speed Force is sort of taking the Flash into it, and it's running through the outfit. And this works really well on the chest, which I have no problem with, and looks very much like the DC Unlimited counterpart, which I also think handles this effect pretty well. The only problem is when we get up to the head, and the lightning bolts just get way too thick for me. I feel like if they had been as thin as the chest, then there wouldn't have been much of a problem. On the back, we can see this is accentuated even more, where it looks like there's some sort of strange design on the back of his head. However, if you were just wanting a standard Flash, this really shouldn't be a problem, since you will easily be able to just sand off the yellow paint, and the red plastic should be fine. But of course, use caution when doing this, and maybe nail polish remover might be the best thing to use. Other than that, the head sculpt is really beautiful, and the eye paint particularly is very nice. If you all can see at home, he's got these really nice blue eyes, and the eyes I find stand out more than the other figures in the set, so at least the Flash has that going for him. The lightning bolt symbol on the chest is really nice. The belt and the armbands of lightning are actually painted really nice without any slop, and the Flash is usually a notorious figure for paint slop in those areas. We can see that the bolts that are sculpted on the side of the head, they're also really nice, and they're in there really well. They're not halfway coming out or unglued or anything like that. And on the boots, we have some very basic boots that sort of subscribe to a more traditional look for the boots without any of the lightning bolt fringes on the sides. As for articulation, the Flash is pretty basic. We have the standard Brave and the Bold elbow joints. We have the cut at the shoulder. And we have a waist swivel. We have the head can go side to side, but no up and down movement. Shouldn't be surprised, most fans of Brave and the Bold. And of course, we have a basic T-crotch down here. And all you can do is up and down at the hips. So that's it. As for running poses, the Flash doesn't look too bad when we have his legs extended straight out like this, but the problem is there's no knee articulation. So without that knee articulation, he is destined to run with straight legs the whole time. This looks okay, and it can definitely be overlooked, but I feel like the Flash definitely needed that knee articulation more than any other figure in Brave and the Bold history. So it's a real shame that they couldn't make it for this figure, but I understand.
I want to use this as an opportunity to point out something about all the figures. The Brave and the Bold figures had large foot pegs that would accommodate the plug-in accessories that they could use in their arms. Like
here we have leads peg holes, and as you can see, they're rather large.
They've not given any peg holes in the feet of the figures in the 7-pack. So, unfortunately, not only are you stuck with a Flash that's not quite able to run appropriately because of the lack of knee articulation, you can't pose him on one leg. There's no generic there's no generic figure stand that you can plug him into, like a G.I. Joe or a Star Wars stand that you might have laying around. So, good luck trying to balance him on the one leg. Like some other heroes in the Brave and the Bold line who did not get figures, there actually was a villain figure produced. One of the Flash's most notorious rogues, Gorilla Grodd, got an excellent deluxe box set figure for Brave and the Bold, but he didn't have a Flash to fight during the run of the original line. So it's great to finally get to pair these two up.
As we can see, the scale is really nice. Since Gorilla Grodd was a deluxe size figure, he's already quite large. And compared to the Flash, even when he's down on his hands, he's still really quite large. And they look great together, and I would definitely recommend tracking down this Gorilla Grodd if you don't own it, because he is a great companion piece.
Grodd was issued twice. In fact, there was a Batman vs. Grodd 2-pack early in the line, and then one of the very last items for the line was a Grodd vs. Batman and Superman 3-pack. So he should still be floating around if you'd like to get one.
And that was our closer look at the Flash. As I said, a pretty nice figure. The paint is not exactly handled the way maybe it should have been, especially on the head. But other than that, really, this is the Flash figure that we never got, that we were promised. It is the exact same sculpt. There's a few paint app differences. But overall, the figure is a fine specimen.
Mm-hmm. Even though I do have a couple of qualms with the figure, there's some, like Jared mentioned, some paint application issues, and I, for one, am not quite as fond of the new 52 look as Jared, so that's not exactly a strike against it, but it's just not a preference. But I'm so excited to finally get the Flash figure for Brave and the Bold that, even with, these issues, which are minute, I can't help but be really thrilled with the figure.
And with that in mind, I would say that the Flash is easily another 3.5 out of 5-star figure. Much like Aquaman, there's maybe a couple of choices that could have been made that could have helped him out, but other than that, the Flash is just a very plain, ordinary Brave and the Bold figure, but not bad at all.
In terms of sculpt, the very plainest.
Right.
But he does have some bold paint choices, which make him stand out just a little bit more than Aquaman or the others.
All right, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Jared.
And this has been Brandon.
Take care.